welcome to another Scene World unboxing with me, Merman. As you can see this time it's still in all the packaging. I've just received this a few days ago and due to the current situation I haven't unboxed it yet. So we'll start by opening the parcel itself. Now this is the latest from Bitmap Books, founded by Sam Dyer. And he's built a strong reputation for the quality and detail of his products. The Visual Compendium series, Point and Click Adventure book, the Slug book, the computer role-playing game book. He's recently launched Microbot Mighty, a book full of micro machines for collectors of those toy cars. And while the first couple of books were funded through Kickstarter, this is one that has been funded by pre-orders alone and comes with the usual array of goodies. So we'll open up the tube. It's quite tricky to get these out. So first of all we have a beautiful Atari 2600 poster, true life game sounds, on-screen scoring, colour on colour TVs, no batteries needed, difficulty options. So that's showing the classic 2600 setup. And then later the Atari 7800 video computer system. And those are a couple of beautiful posters. These posters came with the pre-order, and this is in fact the collector's edition, which was limited in number and included the posters and another bonus that we'll see when we open the packaging inside. So inside the sealed bag we have some beautiful Bitmap Books cardboard protecting it. If we turn it over, this is even more impressive. Printed scene on the back, which looks really cool. So we tear here to open. And Bitmap Books always pack their products really well. As you can see here, we've got protective corners on the book and a cover over the book. So this is, as you may have guessed by now, this is the 7th in the series of visual compendiums covering the Atari 2600, the VCS console, and the Atari 7800. Leaflet 4, Bitmap Book, showing you some of the other titles. I can thoroughly recommend Arcade. That's the NES book, Sega Master System book, the unofficial SNES Pixel book. I've yet to read the Metal Slug and computer role-playing game book, but I'm sure they're great. So this is our Atari Bookmark, and then a pack of 5 exclusive postcards based on classic Atari VCS games. So let's move cardboard out of the way. So you can see the book is still shrink wrapped in its lenticular cover. Atari's early tenure as the video games industry's leading light oversaw seismic changes in what was still a very young and evolving sector. Not only was Atari's VCS 2600 system the first piece of gaming equipment to truly dominate the living room, it also played host to some of the most iconic titles of all time, including Asteroids, Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Defender, Joust, Pitfall, River Raid, and many, many more. So now we'll go inside And as you can see from the sticker on the top, this is an official licensed product from the current license holder. So personally, I like to keep that sort of sticker on packaging with CDs and that sort of thing. I think it's part of the whole setup. So there we go, and you see here the lenticular cover, which may not work so well on the video camera, but by tilting it you get the illusion of movement. So let's take the book out of its slipcase, and I can see straight away there, right in the middle of the book, another nice touch with bitmap books is the fabric ribbons that hold the bookmark in. So we have the beautiful colour bars. Welcome from bitmap books. There's over 500 pages, so this might take a few minutes. The contributors, lots of interesting people in there, including Nolan Bushnell, Rob Fullett, Ray Kazar, Craig Granell, the retro gamer, Howard Scott Warshaw, apologies, Carol Shaw. I know Craig Granell was pleased to get Carol Shaw interviewed. So there's a list of games. Forward history, 2600 games, 7800 games, developer profiles, interviews, hardware, cover art, prototypes, and homebrew, all of them covered in this book. The foreword from Gary Kitchen. Beautiful shot of the wood grain there. The history of Atari. And the two consoles. And then on to the games. So, as is typical with these, most games get double page spreads. Some of the games in this version have a single spread. So we start off with Combat, Indy 500, Video Olympics, Surround, AFC Battle, Space War, based on obviously the classic mainframe game, Outlaw, based on one of the earliest arcade games to use a microprocessor, Superman, Video Chess, and that shows some of the difficulty in programming the 2600 is the way you had to split the screen. Programmers call it racing the beam because the picture was made up. You had to literally write the graphics to the screen as the raster beam scanned down the television. So Space Invaders, probably one of the classic Atari 2600 games, superb conversion for the console, and also then adding lots of different modes. Night Driver, based on the Atari coin-op. Maze Craze. Adventure, famous for being the first game with an Easter egg, and Warren Robinett, the programmer, talks about it there. An interview with Jody Kerr, early Atari employee. Dodgem, based on the arcade game Head On. Dragster from Activision. Of course, Activision was formed by former Atari programmers who weren't getting enough recognition for their work, and monetary payment, so they went separate. Fishing Derby, or I should say Derby. Circus Atari, Ice Hockey, Video Pinball, Stampede, another owned Activision game. The classic Warlords, one of the reasons to own a set of paddles for the VCS. It plays so well with the paddles, and up to 4 players, 2 pairs of paddles. Freeway, Laser Blast, Kaboom, Missile Command, Super Breakout, Yar's Revenge, one of my favourites here. Simple idea, works really well on the 2600, visually very clever, and still very playable today, and there is a great Commodore 64 version. Haunted House, Pac-Man, well, I'm not going to say anything about that. Lots of people criticise it for the flickering and the fact it looks nothing like the original, but it's still playable. Demon Attack from iMagic, important early third-party developer. An interview with Carol Shork. I know Craig wanted to do this a long time. She programmed River Raid, Space Jockey, Real Sports Volleyball, Dragonfire, skipped a page there, Chopper Command recently came to the C64, Block and Chase, Star Raiders, the aforementioned River Raid, Berserk. It's a good conversion on the 2600, plays well. Vanguard, I do like Vanguard, the changes in scrolling based on an SNK coin-up. Piece on Activision. I already mentioned how they split from Atari. Pitfall, Worm War 1, Fantastic Voyage, Frogs and Flies, Atlantis, Fast Food, Alien. So this is an interesting one. Sort of basically a variation on Pac-Man based on the film. Frogger, Amidar. I do love Amidar in the arcade. Not so keen on the 2600 version. Interview with Dennis Koblo. Donkey Kong. There is a newer version of Donkey Kong with more screens and much closer to the original. There's just 3 levels in the 2600. Mousetrap, another arcade conversion, best known on the Coleco. Interview had Scott Warshot, fascinating guy, writes regularly for Wireframe magazine, which I also write for. And of course, he's remembered for E.T., but he also programmed Raiders of the Lost Ark, which had interesting controls. And there is Raiders itself, using the second joystick to manipulate objects. E.T., try and find the bug-fixed version, it's more playable. Gorf, Wizard of War, C64 version of Wizard of War is impressive. Jawbreaker, an early game from Sierra Online, more famous for their adventures. Turmoil, from Sirius. Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back, which then influenced Attack of the Mutant Camels. Cosmic Ark, look out for Max Hall's C64 version. Riddle of the Sphinx. Piece on iMagic, we mentioned Demon Attack. Megamania, which is another game that sparked a lawsuit back in the day. Barnstorming. Commando Raid. Dark Cavern. There's the Paddles. Skyjinx. What could have been, these are some prototype games, since he was split to a single page here. So Keystone Cannonball with a character from Keystone Capers. Save Mary. Kabobba. Polo. Many of these you can play. ROMs have been made available. So there's a version of Tempest there. A game called Pompeii, which is visually interesting. Elevator Action. Garfield Bugs Bunny. Pit Fighter, Rescue on Fractalus. Serious. So some of these now we're looking at 7800. Back to the 2600 Astroblast. Journey Escape. Based on the arcade game Journey, featuring the Rock Band. Robot Tank. Spider Fighter. Tron Deadly Discs, one of multiple games based on the Tron movie back then. Phoenix. Polaris. Adventures of Tron. Zaxxon. Tried to make the isometrics work in a different way, going vertically up the screen. MASH, strange license from Fox. Centipede. Air Raiders. Frostbite. If you've been keeping up with the C64 releases recently, you'd have seen version by Antonio Savona, Steve Day, Saul Cross. That's a great game. Bank Heist. M Network. Another third-party publisher. Moonsweeper. Gravitar, based on the Atari coin-op, which went on to influence classic 8-bit game Thrust. Lasergate. Bump and Jump, another arcade conversion. Qbert. Quickstep. Krull, based on the fantasy film. Pole Position. Mr. Doe. I always say Mr. Doe. Lots of other people say Mr. Do. You say Doe, I say Do. Mountain King. Keystone Capers. Again, there's 2 versions of that on the C64. Both really playable, both enjoyable. Pressure Cooker, that's coming soon at the time of recording. Popeye. G.I. Joe Cobra Strike. Enduro, another racing game. Galaxian. David Crane quote here: "Creating a video game is the creative work of an author, not the work of a nameless engineer." Moon Patrol. Parker Brothers, who also did several C64 cartridges back then. Subterranea. Jungle Hunt. Battlezone. Snoopy and the Red Baron, well remembered for its music. Sorcerer's Apprentice. Star Wars Return of the Jedi Death Star Battle, one of several Star Wars games. Quadrun. Now a piece looking at some of the early cover art. And it was quite impressive. And also interesting to see how publishers developed their own identity with a particular style. So the iMagic cartridges look similar. Activision's all had their own look. Here again you can see these Atari ones on the 7800 with the silver packaging, which is quite smart. It looks nice when you collect them. I have a bunch of them together on a shelf. Fathom. Sequest. Bobby is Going Home. Sky Skipper, based on a very rare Nintendo arcade game. Real Sports Tennis. Puyan. Very strange game from Konami. Well worth playing. Interview with Steve Waita, another Atari designer. Star Wars Jedi Arena. Star Wars the arcade game. Beam Rider from Activision. Great fun. Taz and Asteroids. General Computer Corps, who published a lot of 2600 games, and also then 7800. Millipede, follow-up to Centipede. Pitfall 2 Lost Caverns, which of course has an extra chip in the cartridge to enhance the sound and give it extra memory. So this is an early example of bank switching to give more memory in the cartridge. Frogger 2 Free Deep, an unusual follow-up. Montezuma's Revenge. Originally was going to be much bigger and had more features, but cut down to size. Spy Hunter. Hero. John Van Ryzen. Another one great fun to play on the C64 or the Atari 2600. Crystal Castles. Track and Field. You get a special controller for Track and Field. Interview with Steve Golson. Tapper. Ghostbusters. Of course, David Crane got the license at Activision, had an existing game called Car Wars in development, and used that for the driving scenes, and added the Ghostbusters theme. Junior Pac-Man. An interview with Dan Kitchen, creator of Crackpots. Centipede. Solaris. So now we're moving on to, that's the 7800 version here. Miss Pac-Man, 7800. Dig Dug, and as you can see, the change in the graphics, much more colourful and detailed. Midnight Magic pinball game. Proposition 2. Xavius. Asteroids. I do like Asteroids on the 2600 though. Real Sports Boxing, another 2600 one there. Choplifter. Hat Trick from the Balicente coin-up. You can get a great version on the C64. The players on that leave scratches on the ice and the Zamboni machine cleans it up. Robotron 2084 on 7800. There is in development at the moment a brilliant new 2600 version of Robotron, which is looking amazing. Ball Blazer 7800 also on the C64, of course. Winter Games, another one you can play on the C64. Desert Falcon 7800 cartridge, which is coming soon to the Evercade handheld, and I'm hoping to get mine soon. It's releasing soon, and that's Desert Falcon is included on there, and I'm looking forward to playing that. I'll do a review on that for Scene World. One-on-one basketball, another EA title we know from the C64. Food Fight, Defender 2 at 2600, Michael Katz, and that's Impossible Mission on the 7800 in the background there. Karateka and Shoplifter. There's Karateka, Impossible Mission. Sprint Master, Mario Brothers, and that's going to be 7800 as well. California Games on 2600. River Raid 2, Summer Games, Donkey Kong for 7800, Donkey Kong Jr., one that made its way recently to the C64 via the Atari 8-bit. Super Skateboarding, Tower Toppler, which we know on the C64 as Nebulous, brilliant game. Glacier Patrol, BNX IR Master, Double Dragon on the 7800, better than the C64 versions. Rampage 7800, Dark Chambers Cracked. Crossbow, that's another game you can find on the C64. It's disc only. Imagineering was set up by the Kitchens. Radar Lock. Jinx, it's also on the C64. Kung Fu Master. Watch out for the Kung Fu Master inspired Dragon Punch coming soon from Trevor Story. Commando. Off the Wall. Xenophobe on the 7800. Interesting arcade game from Bally. My Golf. Interview with David Dent. Edit Clacks. Mean 18 Ultimate Golf. Basket Brawl. Ninja Golf. Ikari Warriors. Motor Psycho. Scrapyard Dog. Fatal Run. Meltdown. Alien Brigade, a bit like Operation Wolf. Midnight Mutant Sentinel. So we're getting there, up to page 500. Interview with Ed Fries, most famous for his work on the Xbox machines, and he did a 2600 version of Halo, which is fun to play. And now looking at the Homebrew. So this is Worm, released in 2010. Ladybug, based on the arcade game, which has unique rotating walls. Princess Rescue, which looks amazing. Not played that one yet. Let's try it. And some more conversion of Thrust for the Atari 2600, which looks really good, plays really well. Boulder Dash, Juno First, another game I love in the arcade. Medieval Mayhem, which is an improved version of Warlords with more of the presentation. Skeleton Plus, Edris 2600. Mappy. Zippy the Porcupine, I wonder what the inspiration for that is. Ninja Guy, Crazy Bricks, Pac-Man Collection, Frenzy, a follow-up to Berserk, Astro Blaster Bomb Q ripoff, Beef Drop Worm, Combat 1990, Armour Attack 2, one of my favourite homebrew games. The Atari 2600 isn't mentioned here. Is a game called Man Goes Down, where you drop down through falling platforms, and that is great fun, so check that out if you get the chance. Rick and Vicky, Bentley Bears Crystal Quest, and The End. That's from the classic Missile Command on the 2600. So, I hope you enjoyed this look through Atari 2600 7800, a visual compendium from Bitmap Books. It's another impressive book from the company, full of fascinating interviews and great looking spreads. Go to bitmapbooks.co.uk now and order. And keep watching the Scene World channel for more of my unboxing videos, more news, reviews and interviews.